Hello and welcome to my meditation. My name is Debra Baker and I'm so grateful that you have joined us for this little while. It is a beautiful day here in Kansas and there are some sweet birds that are going to provide some background noise, and we are going to talk about feeling safe. So let's get started. So let's begin with our 3 nice, really deep breaths. Breathing all the way down into our torsos, holding it for a second and releasing it out really slowly. And then taking another breath just a little bit deeper. Holding it for a second and releasing it out. And now the deepest breath you've taken all day, fill up your belly. In your chest, feel your ribs expand. Hold it for a second, and then just let it go. I hope you are enjoying the daylilies. They're in bloom such a short time. I thought we could look at them during the meditation if you have your eyes open, which I do not recommend. Let's relax our bodies, tense our bodies up first to kind of create the space for them to relax. So push your feet and your knees together and kind of tighten up your legs. And then pull everything in around your pelvis and your midsection. Pull your arms to your side, clench your fists, tuck your chin to your chest, your shoulders toward your ears, and just curl up in a ball for a second. Hold it really tightly for 1 breath cycle. And then let it all go. Notice how wonderful that feels, all the increased blood flow. So it seems like I have been encountering the subject of addiction everywhere I turn this week. And the thing about people who are dealing with addiction, and in most cases this week it's been someone else's addiction, and the problem when we're dealing with someone else's addiction is that we don't feel safe. It is really hard to feel safe in your life when you have someone, even if they are in recovery from their addiction. Sometimes the recovery is a slow process. And the only way that we can heal, whether it's, what's going on around you is someone's addiction, or whether it's just someone's behavior in one way or another, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We know that in order to heal, to feel, whole and complete, the first requirement is that we need to feel safe. So we're going to have a little bit of silence, or as much silence as my neighbor's dog will allow, to just remember a time, and it may be way, way back to your childhood, when you felt safe. I have to laugh because it seems like all the dogs in the neighborhood are getting into this bark. It's if you ever saw the show 101 Dalmatians, I think they called it the midnight bark, and the dogs would communicate with one another. So do you remember what it felt like to feel safe? And maybe you feel safe in your life right now. I hope that you do, or at least you have places where you feel safe and times when you feel safe. So that sense of safety can be triggered by something outside of ourselves. Maybe it's pulling into your driveway or walking up the steps to your home or your bedroom or your favorite chair. So let's think for a moment about the places where we feel safe. And the guides are suggesting that we quickly visit places where we don't, the idea of the places where we don't feel safe. So I remember my mother was an alcoholic, and I remember going to her house as an adult, and even just being around her, I never knew what she was going to say, if she was going to be kind or if she was going to be cruel. But she was my mother, and I loved her, and so I spent time around her, but I don't know that I sensed back then how important it was to fill that place in me, the place where I had felt unsafe, to create places in me where I felt extra safe, to kind of heal that space. And it's really important, if you have an experience where you feel unsafe, that as quickly as you can, you get yourself to a time or a space where you can feel safe and where your adrenaline can get back down to normal and your heart rate can decrease, or even if it's just that kind of low level unease, how somebody that you don't feel real safe around shows up somewhere and you just feel this kind of on edge feeling. I invite you to validate that for yourself. That's why we're thinking about places where we don't feel safe, because then we can take care of ourselves when we find ourselves in those places. And that's as much about healing, is recognizing the places where we don't feel safe, so that we can then later create that sense of safety if it is someplace where we need to be. And if it's not someplace we need to be, abort, get out of there now. One of the things I noticed when I went to New York last December, I expected not to feel safe. And I think it was partly due to my wonderful sister-in-law, who has never met a stranger, and we were traveling with her, and she was so friendly to so many people. But I found the people to be very friendly for the most part. And I felt very safe. I was pleasantly surprised at how at home I felt there. This, country girl from Kentucky, feeling at home in New York City. And so let's think about the people we feel safe around. And I hope they are the people that are closest to you. And let's note that sometimes we feel unsafe around people because they are going through something. People are going through a rough time, and so they're cranky or on edge or, not themselves. We can be kind and loving and forgiving at the same time still taking care of ourselves. So if someone's going through a rough time and you don't feel comfortable around them, give yourself permission to limit your time with them. And to absolutely trust your instincts around people and places. And so now let's shift our focus inside. Imagine that you are able to bring all of your consciousness into the center of your heart space. Think of it a little bit like the I Dream of Jeannie bottle. You know, she'd go into her genie bottle and it was, you know, safe, and it was, you know, nice comfy furniture in there, and it was kind of her little safe place. And so imagine going into your heart, or whatever you want it to look like. Picture it however you'd like. Whether it is this beautiful crystal-lined cave, or a nice comfy furniture, or, you know, next to a mountain stream like we had last week, or, you know, wherever, next to an ocean or a body of water, next to Daisy there. So just imagine yourself inside of your heart, and that the strongest energy there is peace and safety. Because inside of your heart is your connection to the infinite. Your oneness with all that is, the connecting point, the juncture. The junction is in your heart space. So when you settle, when you bring all of your consciousness into your heart space, let us set the intention that it is the safest place you can be. Just breathe into your heart space. And I invite you to make the commitment to yourself that it is safe inside my heart, that of all the people and places in the world, the safest place for me to be is inside my own heart space. Because that is where the infinite is. That is where you find God. You know, we know that we are one with God. We are one with all that is. And I don't know about you, but it helps me to think of a specific place that represents that oneness rather than just this kind of vague generality. So let's think about that heart space. And know that we are one with all that is, and it is safe to be ourselves. You don't have to change yourself for anyone else. You don't have to please anyone else. It is safe to be you exactly as you are. And when you feel safe, the infinite expands in, through, and as you, and helps you to heal. It helps you to feel more comfortable in your own skin. Take one more nice, really deep breath. And I invite you to, even if you want to put your hand over your heart space and just say, this is the safest place for me. I am safe in my own skin. I am safe in my own heart. I show up for me. So I congratulate you on creating a safe place for yourself, for honoring your own needs to be who you are and to be safe. I know I've used that word 1,000 times in this meditation, and I apologize. It's really important, because safety is a little different from peace and serenity. It's a little different from comfort. When we are safe, we are free from harm, and sometimes that harm comes from ourselves. So when we create safe places, ow, bug just bit me. When we create safe places for ourselves, we allow and invite ourselves to grow. So thank you so much for joining me. And I would like to remind you that you are whole and perfect, exactly as you are. And I want to give a shout out to my daughter Tara and her husband Ryan, who bought me a new tripod. Yay! So now we're going to be steady. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.